Hey, everybody. All of one person. I'm guessing that's Texas. Hey, Texas. Actually, brownie skies sounds pretty yummy. Um, I must have, there I go getting stuff in my teeth before I do these streams. So sorry, Texas. But I think that's some kind of pizza spice. Steve brought home a pizza. They got too many pizzas at work. They're on a shutdown week, and so they either go out to eat for lunch, his department does, or they get pizzas or Chick-fil-A or whatever. Um, so he brought up most of a whole pizza home. Um, and yeah, stop eating broccoli. Yeah, I kind of wish it was broccoli in there, although that would have been kind of green and looked kind of nasty. Um, but I think that was some, the spice and the sauce or something. Who knows? I gotta quit eating right before these streams and taking a bite of stuff. I think that's where it's getting me in trouble. So I think I've got it out now, so I won't be looking gross, or my teeth won't be looking gross on this stream. Um, now it looks like we've got about 3 people in here. At least I didn't have to cook. Yeah, I still had some chili, and I was gonna heat the chili up for Steve, and I was gonna have french fries or something like that. Cause I mean, I ate some chili early on Halloween and, kinda around Halloween and stuff, so I told Steve that I would make sure that he had chili, for the remainder of the week, at least until we go get groceries again. But yeah, I love to cook, and I'm really wanting to make some apple bread because I always make bread in the fall. That's the time. I mean, I realize that you can make bread anytime, but I love making homemade breads in the fall. It just makes the kitchen smell so good, and I don't know. That's just like when it starts getting fall and winter. I used to like to cook all the time. And I still wish that, I had the time to, but it just seems like, the busier you get, the more responsibilities you get, it takes out of your cooking time. I used to come up with new recipes all the time, or I would look up recipes of different things to cook. When I was working part-time, and I was working at one of the branch libraries that was pretty much in a strip mall, and I would get off within a few hours. On Wednesdays, especially, I would get off in the middle of the day. My shift ended in the middle of the day, and I would have to ride the bus home. So a lot of times, I had to wait a little bit between the time I got off and the bus actually arriving. And I rode the bus enough that I figured out about when it would show up every day. And all I had to do was just go across the road basically from where my work was and catch the bus. So I would generally go to Kroger's and go get things. I would come up with a recipe or look up a recipe. Hey, I want to try this. And I would pick up the stuff at Kroger's and then go home and cook it and have it done by the time Steve got off from work. But as I moved into full-time work, that kind of stuff sort of fell by the wayside, unfortunately. And now that, I've still got these long COVID symptoms, sometimes I'm just so tired. Sometimes I'm just so exhausted that I just can't even think about cooking anything, which is sad. I hate that. And so, unfortunately, I haven't got my apple bread cooked yet. Usually, I like to make apple bread. Steve likes banana bread. I usually try to make him some banana bread. Uh, I make a cinnamon. It's actually cinnamon sugar, but because I'm diabetic, I put the Splenda sugar blend in there, which cuts out a lot of the sugar. It's exactly what it says. It's a blend. It's half sweetener and half sugar. That way is, you know, it doesn't shoot up my blood sugar like eating a bunch of sugar, like a bunch of pure sugar. So, I will use the sugar blend, in this cinnamon sugar swirl bread, and it is amazing. You know, the recipe's amazing, not, because I made it, it's amazing, but the just the recipe I found for this, and I just found it online. I was looking at homemade breads at one point, and that was one that came up, and, I love that one. I love the apple bread. I'm not as big of a banana bread person as Steve is, but, I make it for him because I know that he likes it. Um and somehow I lost 2 people talking about cooking, I guess, but anyway, I was trying what I was attempting to do was talk about stuff for a little bit, to allow more people to get in here, that wanted to be in here for Cheese Extreme Wednesday. Um, Also, I have some better news on the work front, the job where they did 2 interviews with me, and then I just thought that they had decided to go in another direction because I didn't hear anything. Well, I heard from the gentleman who's the IT manager at the job, and he wants to do another um, meeting with me, and this time he wants to introduce me to his boss. So I'm really excited about this. I'm hoping, guys, that this is the one, and that we're down to 1, and I guess that's still you, Texas. So I don't know if sometimes people are having trouble getting on, or it's just people that are kinda surfing the net and just looking at different podcasts, and if it doesn't seem interesting to them, they just kinda drop out. But maybe we'll get some more people here in just a second. If not, Texas, I'll be glad to talk about these movies with you. Um yeah, I think that that is great news in my opinion. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, my toes crossed, everything. Um, Even the psychiatric nurse practitioner, I had a meeting with her today, and I was telling her about that, and she said she'd keep her fingers crossed for me. And so, that's on Friday, that I get introduced to the IT manager's boss. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm hoping and praying that this is the one, and I can call, when they actually say you have the job, when and if they say you have the job, um, at that point, I'm gonna call or contact because HR doesn't shit. They don't want to even talk to me. So I'm just going to talk to my soon to be former supervisor at Stockyards, and I'm gonna tell her, I found something else, I quit. That way, it won't allow them to fire me, which that's a pride thing. I told Steve, I said, in 26, 27 years, I've never been fired from a job either. He said, Dana, a lot of people have been fired. He said, I've been fired multiple times from jobs. I said, "Yeah, I know, Steven. I'm not saying you're a bad worker because you got fired multiple times. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that I know it's a pride thing with me, and I know you're not supposed to be prideful and all that jazz, but I can't help it. Um, it seems like to me, or it will feel like to me, if they terminate me or they fire me, that there's going to be a black mark on my record, on my employment record forever and ever and ever. And I just don't want that. Um, so I'm hoping and praying that they say, "Hey, you've got the job, you start on this day." Um, Steve said, "Well, if they offer you the job," um, he said, "Tell them you'll start work the next week." I said, "Steve, I'm going to tell these people that I'll start whenever they want me to start. If they want me to start the next day, I'll start the next day. I don't care. I'll do whatever they want me to do if they'll give me a job. they're already going to let me work remotely. This is a remote job. So it's not like one of those things where they can all of a sudden say, hey, by the way, you got to come to the office, mainly because they are located in Texas. There's no way I can just come into the office. So, when they advertise a job as 100% remote, when they ask you if remote is okay with you, um, I don't think that on down the line at any point in time they're gonna say, "Oh, by the way, we need somebody to come in the office." You know, um, Texas, you said, "Nah, there won't be. Former employers can't say anything bad about you, and there's no mark against you ever." And that's pretty much what Steve has told me. He says that um, they can't even say what they fired you for, because I was afraid that stockyards would try to fuck me, even, excuse my language, but even after I tried to get away from them, and say things like, well, she was insubordinate. We told her to come back to the office. She wouldn't come back to the office, or say something shitty like that. But Steve says they can't. And I don't know enough. Like I said, I'm not bragging, but because I've never been fired or terminated before, I didn't understand what they could and could not do legally. Um, so Steve told me a future employer, a potential employer, couldn't even ask why somebody got fired. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, um, but that's what he told me. But thank you, Texas, for actually confirming that. It's not that I don't believe my husband. It's just like I haven't had enough experience with this side of it, and I just don't know. I just didn't know what they could do or what they could not do, or all of that. So I will keep you guys posted. Like I said, my parents and Steve will be the number one people that get to know first, but you guys will probably be the next group of people that come into my live streams, because you know how vocal and you know how open I am about everything. So that's looking good. I'm also starting to get a few more bites on other jobs, because I'm keeping trying until somebody tells me, hey, you got this job. For sure, you got this job. And we're not going to pull the rug out from under you. I won't really relax until I get to that point. But, I'm feeling a little better now that I actually heard from the IT manager from Smile Doctors about this position. So, um, Texas said, "No, they can't say anything. They're not allowed to say anything really at all, just that you work there." And that's exactly what Steve told me. That's exactly what he told me. Um, and you know, I don't know that they'll have to do a background check. I mean, I'll obviously say, yeah, you can do a background check on me. But that I don't even think I've answered questions about a background check, and they may be waiting to see if I'm, the best fit for the position or whatever, before they do that. But I don't think they're going to be nearly as picky as the bank was. Um, not that I've done anything bad or anything, but, I'm not gonna be working with children. I'm not gonna be handling, any kind of financial type of stuff where there's gonna be financial records. I'm basically gonna be helping other users with computer things. I'm not even, I don't think, gonna be messing with patient records or anything like that. It's gonna be like password resets and people calling and saying their computer's slow, people saying their computer won't power on, all that technical stuff. Um, so I'm not going to really see anything that's like a privacy issue or, something like that. So I don't know how detailed the background check would even be, um, for this type of job. I mean, I guess I'll find out if they wanna, they say, "Well, okay, do you consent to a background check?" Because when I worked for the library, I was around kids there. I didn't work directly with kids, but I was around kids. But I don't think they ran a background check on me for that. And also they didn't do a drug test on me. But when I wanted to start with stockyards, I had to do a significant background check had to be run on me, and also a drug test. So I had to go to like LabCorp here in Louisville, and I had never peed in the cup for a purpose of a drug test before. So basically, they told me, they said, "Here's a cup. Go in the bathroom. You've got this amount of time, and don't flush." I'm like, "Holy shit," they mean business. So, I wasn't worried because I didn't have anything in my body that was, you know, um, I did tell them I was on, mental health medicine, and I said, "Hey, is that gonna affect anything? Is it gonna look like hard drugs or anything?" Because I thought I should tell them about that, and they said, "We'll let you know if anything comes back looking suspicious," and of course it didn't. So, I'm not really worried about that, but I don't know if they're gonna have to go as far as the bank did with things like that. Yeah, people that need to plug it in. I mean, really, seriously, Texas, you're one step ahead of these people that call and say, "Hey, my computer won't power on." I cannot begin to tell you the number of people in the 6 months I was with Stockyards that would call and say, "My computer's not powering on." And the first thing I would ask them, I said, "Now, I'm not thinking you're stupid. Things can get unplugged very easily, especially if somebody else has been using your office. If your feet brush against a power strip or something, things can get unplugged." I mean, it happened at the library too. So I was very, very familiar with that. And I would actually go to people's work areas and desks in the library, at the main library. And one of the first things I'd do if we noticed the computer wasn't powered on, or they would call and say, "Hey, Dana, my computer's not powered on," I would check that. And nine times out of 10, something was unplugged or it wasn't tight. Same thing happened with monitors. They had power going to them, but the monitor connectors that go either the VGA, the DVI, or the HDMI had come loose or completely was out of the port on either the monitor or where it plugs into the PC. So, I mean, those are the simplest things to do and fix, and I like those because 'cause they're quick and easy, but regular people, not tech people, regular people don't think about those things, and people will be so surprised, at the amount of people that and again, I'm not calling them stupid, they just don't check common sense things because I think they've got it in their head that things are a lot more complicated than they actually are. That it's something more complicated, that like their monitor's fried or something. And it's just not um it's just not something that they're thinking about. Um and another thing that happened at the library is we had the mini PCs that were just a little square box. It wasn't these big towers like I've got at home. They were a little square PC. And what they did, they would put the PC analyst would put a rack on the back of the monitor and put the little PC in there. Um, and what people would not realize is they thought that it was an all-in-one PC. And basically, a all-in-one just looks like a big monitor. That's what they thought they had because they didn't see a tower. and either they forgot or whoever hooked it up for them did not show them, hey, the PC's on the back of the monitor. So they would call and say, hey, Dana, um, I've turned my PC on, but nothing's coming on. And I would ask, I said, do me a favor, lean the monitor part back and look on the back of it and tell me if there's a square black box there. 9 times out of 10, there would be. And I said, is there a power light on there? Is there a green light that's on? No. Okay. Press that power button. Oh my gosh, it works. you know, and again, those are the easiest things to fix. Those are the ones that I really, I could do 5,000 of those a day and it wouldn't bother me. Texas, you say the library didn't do a background check on you because you never owned the Evil Dead cabinet. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't think I ought to wear this on my third interview with the Smile Doctors. What do you think, Texas? I don't think that would look good. Don't think it would look too professional. But anyways, um, anyway, I think I'm gonna. Well, I want to remind everybody too. I might as well get some housekeeping stuff out of the way before I get to the meat of the live stream, because we only got 2 movies to cover tonight, and I generally don't go on too long with them. But I want to remind everybody that the prom night watch along will be Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. If anybody is interested in joining me live on the stream, again, you don't have to be on video. I don't mind if you're audio only. If you want to if you got a webcam and you want to stick a stuffed animal or your favorite pet or whatever in your pet lizard, whatever, in front of your webcam, that's groovy. I don't mind at all. And then you can just talk and not be on camera. If you don't have a camera, it doesn't matter. You can come on here and you can be audio only. Okay. I just want to make these next 2 live streams the best ones I've had. Okay. I think the cruising one, which will be Sunday, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern time, a little bit earlier, so people can get to bed on time. But I think the cruising one on Sunday, surprisingly enough, I think it's going to be the more popular one, or it seems that it's going to be the most popular one of these 2. So either one of them, if you guys are interested in being on there, I think Texas, you did express an interest in being on the cruising one. I think Jay wants to be on the cruising one. He's been, asking me some questions about it, about how it works and all that. And so I've been trying to tell him as best I can. So even if it's the night of and you get in here and then you decide, hey, I'd really like to go on the live stream with Dana, I would imagine I will still have some slots left. I have room for up to 9 people on here with me at any one time. I want to see if we can get this full. I would love to have 10 total people on here, me plus 9 other people. It would be awesome. I would love to do that for both of them. I would love to have us full for Saturday and Sunday. If we can't, we can't. But so far, Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker has been the fullest I've been. But I want to make it bigger and better all the time. I want to get people excited about these things like I am. And I figure, one of the ways is to not try to force people to be on camera. I've gotten used to being on camera. I don't pay attention hardly at all unless there's a big glaring something in my tooth or, something like that. I don't generally even pay attention. I'm just on here and I'm talking and blabbing or talking about whatever, just like this housekeeping stuff. Hey, 71. But with all of that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started with this week's. I think we're on week 18. We've been doing this for, I've been doing this for 18 weeks now. And sorry, my throat is still a little bit scratchy. I may have to because I've been drinking so much dang Mountain Dew. This is because, I was only going to use this for the Halloween season, but I love it so much that I'm still using this can cooler. Um, oh, one thing I did want to mention, just see what you guys think. You guys might not care either way, but I noticed my microphone cover, this little foam piece, some pieces are starting to come off of it. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool, because you guys probably can't see that very good, but the bottom of my microphone is kind of a pinkish, purplish color. And that's what I wanted. Steve's got the same brand, but his is just black. He didn't want to get a girly color like this. But I wanted to. And so what I thought about doing was getting some different color ones of these, especially some pink ones. And then there's other assorted colors that come in a pack. So like when we got around St. Patrick's Day, for instance, I could have green ones on here, or, whatever I wanted, blue, pink, red, whatever. Um, hey, Darren. So if y'all want to put in the chat yay or nay about me getting some microphone covers of different colors, just let me know what you think about that. And if you don't care either way, I may end up getting them anyway, just because I don't know. I thought that might kind of spice things up a little bit. On the other hand, y'all might not give a shit about what color my microphone cover is. Um, you say that would be, great, Texas? Okay. Yeah, I thought maybe it could be holiday oriented too. Maybe most of the time I could have a pink one on here to go with my pink hat and everything. I'm just trying to get, I guess I'm trying to get a little bit of branding going on with my streams, because I notice a lot of people that do streams on a regular basis, they do start doing the branding. Um, I probably will at some point where it says Evil Dead Chick on here. I may see, since I'm paying now for the StreamYard stuff, um, that I I can do different things with branding as far as being able to add additional things. So I'm gonna look up how to do my own, like, I guess they're kind of like news things where they have your name. Maybe I can make it fancier or something, or put little images on there. I don't know. I'm just going to try to do something different at some point. Um, 71, you say it don't matter, but if you want to jazz things up and can afford it, okay. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm really trying to do, is just jazz things up a little bit. And speaking of affording it, I might very well be, because I'm waiting before I do this to see if I can afford it. But 71, I was telling Texas and anybody else in here that was listening earlier that I finally heard back from the place um, that has done two interviews, the phone interview and the Teams chat interview, and they want to have another interview with me where I get introduced to the IT manager's boss. So, keeping my fingers crossed, keeping my toes crossed, and all that, that this will be the one, and that I'll get the job, and they'll tell me for sure that you've got this job, you start on this day. And at that point, I will tell Stockyards, see you, wouldn't want to be ya. I'm out of here, gone, uh, jump the fence, whatever you want. I'm out of this prison, this hellish prison. Uh, yes, Darren, I'm thinking it looks promising too. Like I said, I'm keeping my fingers and toes crossed. I told Steve, I said, Steve, I know you don't pray, but will you pray for me to please get this job? And he said, I'll send positive thoughts your way. I said, that works. But so, guys, I hate to have to do this, but I knew I was going to have to run to the restroom drinking all this Mountain Dew, but I got to do something because my throat has really been giving me trouble. So, before I get started with the movies tonight, I'm going to run to the restroom really quickly, and hopefully, I won't lose my 6 people that I've got in here. So, when you say go take care of it, we will entertain ourselves. Okay. So, I am going to get to the movies for tonight, but I did want to remind everybody that next week for Cheese Extreme Wednesday, we will be covering The Stuff and Thou Shalt Not Kill Except. That's going to be a fun one, guys. But tonight, we are covering Splatter University. Sorry for the glare, guys. Trying to lean that forward there. And Student Bodies. Okay. So the first one is Splatter University. Okay. This movie is one wacky movie. And if you've not seen Splatter University, I urge you to find a for free version to watch, because this is one of those horror movies that if you're feeling down in the dumps or just not having a great day, maybe you had a fight with your significant other, maybe you had a bad day at work, maybe you had trouble with your kids, whatever, and you just want to sit down and you want to watch a horror movie, but you don't want to watch like a super gory horror movie necessarily, or a super dark horror movie, or any of that. You want a little comedy in there, okay? You want a little craziness in there. Splatter University is gonna fit the bill, I think. So let me give you a little bit of a plot synopsis on Splatter University in case some of you have either not ever heard of it, or not seen it. Darren, you say it's been a while, but I always enjoy Splatter U. Me too. So years ago, a madman escaped from an asylum, slashing his way through to freedom and continuing his bloody rampage at nearby St. Trinian's College. Now, a maniac escaping from the asylum is not a new thing, not in horror circles. It is not. Now, years later, new teacher Julie Parker begins to sense that something isn't quite right at the small town college. And it's not long before her students and fellow faculty members begin disappearing, or worse yet, are found brutally butchered. Determined to uncover the truth behind the ongoing violence, Julie begins her own investigation, unaware that she's putting herself at risk of becoming the ruthless murderer's Next target. A classic of no budget horror filmmaking. Notice they didn't say low budget, they said no budget. Richard W. Haynes' Splatter University is a trashy and consciously absurd 80s slasher that revels in the best and worst tropes of the genre. And keep in mind, this was years before Scream. Sporting bloody kills, absurd twist, and face-smacking finale, Vinegar Syndrome presents Splatter University in its North American Blu-ray debut, sporting a brand new and first ever restoration from its original 16 millimeter camera negative. Okay, so I want to talk about the main character, the character of Julie, who is played by Forbes Riley. Okay, now Forbes Riley is, I'm not sure, that might not be her real name. Her real name could be Francine Forbes. Let me just do a little checking for you on that. For some reason, I'm thinking that Forbes Riley was not her real name. Oh, and here's some interesting stuff I did not know about her. So you guys might be interested to know. And maybe Forbes Raleigh was her real name, or is it? Well, her birth name is Francine K. Forbes. Okay, so I was right about that. So Forbes Riley was born in Long Island, New York, and attended Oceanside High School. She was named Miss Teenage New York and made her television debut with Bob Hope on NBC in the Miss Teenage America pageant. She has appeared on shows such as 24, The Pretender, Fashion House, Untold Stories of the ER, Boy Meets World, and The Practice. She has also starred in the films such as Ghost of Genius, Mr. Murder, Shadow of Doubt, and Savage, as well as the cult classic Splatter University from 1984. Riley has become a familiar face to millions of American viewers for her numerous appearances on infomercials. She has been a spokesperson for Jack LaNe's Power Juicer, a row bed, microgrill, MaxiGlide, more furniture stores, and her own exercise device, Forbes Riley's Spin Gym. She is often seen on live TV on both HSN and QVC in England. So she has twins, a son Riker and a daughter McKenna. And she was named Miss Teenage New York at age 16. So she skipped a grade in high school. She went on to the University of Rochester, where she graduated in 3 years with 2 degrees in political science and film studies. So she's no dummy either, guys. She's very smart. Shortly after graduation, she answered an ad in the New York film trade paper Drama and landed the lead from her very first film audition, a low budget feature, Splatter University. Her father was an inventor. She is the inventor of her own fitness product, the Spin Gym. And her husband, Tom Riley, is former Notre Dame footballer. And a personal quote is, "Some say we live life only once, but I say if we live it right, once is enough." Which I think that is a great quote. She was also born in 1960. So, what else is wacky about this? And actually, Forbes Riley is I'll be totally honest with you. Forbes Riley is the best actress or actor in this movie, because there's some very bad acting in here. The redhead, for one thing, is very bad. Um, and Darren, I don't know if you remember at this point in time about the guy that goes, "Oh," like that all the time. Every time he sees a chick or something, he just does it out of the blue. and he does this thing like this, and he's real stupid acting. But Steve always likes to make that noise whenever the guy makes it. When we did a commentary a few years back for Splatter University, he would do that. And Steve used to make audio tapes of audio from movies way back when. I like Blood Cult was one that um he said when the cop is eating the salad and somebody's found a finger in the salad, and he hears that, and he's taking a bite of his salad, and he says, Jesus, and like spits it out. Like Steve had that looped. When this guy goes, oh, like that, he had that like looped playing over and over again. So if somebody saw this out of context, me doing that, they think I was having some kind of episode. But and there's a scene where I guess the kids are all supposed to be in a bar or a club. It's obvious that they must have just like kind of put a bar in somebody's room. Like it looks like they took somebody's dorm room and just put a bar in there. And you see people doing the craziest dancing. They're like that and jumping around and doing all kinds of stuff. I mean, this whole movie is crazy. You've got the priest who I guess is like the dean of this university, and he's obviously weird and off the wall. Um, you've got a guy who's another teacher at the college, um, who Forbes Riley's character ends up having kind of a romantic connection with him. I always thought this guy looked similar to Sam Raimi, and I tell Steve that every time we watch Splatter University. And but he's kind of, seems a little shady in some parts. So you have a ton of red herrings in this movie, in my opinion. Um, the other actress that I think is a pretty decent actress is the girl that I think she finds out she's pregnant or thinks that she might be pregnant at one point in time. I think she's a pretty good actress. And of course, Forbes Riley is probably the most accomplished actress in this movie. Um, so, Darren, you say you remember that? So, you got a lot going on crammed into a 78-minute movie, guys. I mean, it's not a very long movie, but you have so much crazy, wacky insanity going on in this movie that, like, I mean, you could watch it anytime, but man, if you're feeling down in the dumps for whatever reason, this will certainly work to kind of bring you out of that a little bit. So that's why I say you can watch this thing anytime and it will still be entertaining to you. But one thing I like to do when I'm feeling down in the dumps is either watch comedies. I definitely don't want to watch any tear jerkers, dramas of any type. Uh, Watch a comedy or a mixture of horror and comedy. Okay. And so basically, the two that I'm talking about tonight, that's what I consider them. And now I'm not so sure that the makers of this were trying to make a horror comedy. They might have been trying to be serious as a heart attack about this. But the people that made the next film I'm going to talk about, Student Bodies, they knew exactly what they were making. Um, Darren, you say I probably got your commentary on one of my hard drives. Yeah, if like I say, for all of the commentaries that me and Steve have done in the past, if anybody is ever interested in those commentaries, then please let me know and I will try to dig them up and like send you an audio version or something like that. And ones that I don't have for whatever reason, Like, I think there was one that Wes had that I don't even recall, and I don't even think I was drinking. I don't even recall me and Steve doing this. Like, holy shit, I don't even remember us doing that one. Um, but Steve and I used to do a lot of them, and I've told you guys this before. We used to do them just about every weekend at one point. And then Steve slowly got where he wasn't interested in doing them anymore. So that's one of the reasons why I continue to do these watch alongs, and I try to do a watch along every Saturday. And then, the first weekend of the month, we have one on Saturday and we have one on Sunday. Um, and it's just because I personally, I guess it's a little selfish, a little self-centered of me. To the main purpose of these watch alongs is for me to have fun, for me to forget about everything that's been shitty going, like last month was so shitty. Um, Halloween was good, but most of the rest of the month, other than when I was doing these live streams, was pretty shitty. And it was all, I blame all of that on Stockyards. That was all Stockyards HR. That was because they started this shit about terminating me at the beginning of October. And this shit's been going on. Found out I wasn't getting paid in October and all that. It just kept getting shittier and shittier the whole time. So I'm determined to make November better and moving forward better. And the farther away I can get from stockyards, the better. So, enough about stockyards, but um, that is primarily, I know that seems like a selfish reason, but I'm hoping that you guys are enjoying these watch alongs too, because they're like commentary. They're pretty much like commentaries for me. And that's also why I like to have a bunch of people on here with me, and why I'm hoping that we can get 10 total people on here for these, at least one, maybe both of the ones coming up. So, anyway, if you do, own this Vinegar Syndrome copy, I mean, if you've never seen it and don't own it already, please don't rush out and buy it. Just based on what I'm saying. If you want to see it, I'm almost sure that you can find a for free version out there somewhere to watch it. I would check things like YouTube and Tubi and stuff like that, whatever you have access to. Um, Actually, I'm going to do you guys a favor. I'm going to do you a solid, as my boss at the library and computer services used to say. Uh, oh, and I do see that Dead Pit is doing something tonight at 10, but I'm hoping that I'll hopefully be done by that point in time, so you guys can go over to that if you want to. But I just want to see. Yes, there's a channel 80 slashers where it looks like you can watch Splatter University. This was the first one that came up. Um, so that definitely would probably be your way to go. Okay. If you wanted to watch it for free. Now, I'm not sure how good the quality is going to be, but at least you'd be able to watch it. Um, but if you do, decide to get Splatter University at a later date, after you watched it for free and you want to say, hey, I want to buy it, there are some special features on here. You get newly scanned and restored in 2K from its 16 millimeter original camera negative, commentary track with director Richard W. Haynes, commentary with The Hysteria Continues, audio interview with composer Christopher Burke, still gallery, theme song, script gallery. And I'm betting, I don't know for sure, but the theme song might be that wrong way, wrong way, wrong way song. That's another crazy thing. That this one song pretty much keeps playing through the whole movie. Script gallery, radio spots, original trailer, a TV spot, reversible cover artwork, and I can show you, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's the other artwork. And I believe that the chick on the front, she's not a girl that's in the movie, but I believe that's Elizabeth Catane. Catane, how you pronounce her name. Um, on the front of this. Not Tawny Catane, but Elizabeth Catane or Catan, how you. I want to see maybe if that is. Like, if that's maybe in some like trivia or something for this movie, because I was thinking that was. So here's some trivia for you. The original version of the movie was shot in 81 and it clocked in around 65 minutes. So just an hour and 5 minutes. Additional scenes with students were filmed in 1982 to pad out the running time. The actor who was hired to play Father Perkins didn't show up for the shoot, so director Richard W. Haynes had to play the role. Yes, here, actress Elizabeth Catane was featured on the original poster art, but did not appear in the film. The opening scene in the asylum was shot in a then recently closed psychiatric ward at Bellevue Hospital in New York. The filmmakers were originally told they'd have 2 weeks to shoot at Mercy College, but the school cut their time by a week, so many members of the crew wound up sleeping in the classrooms to ensure the film was finished. When students returned to school, they were alarmed to find crew members cleaning up fake blood. Forbes Riley realized that there was no one checking continuity, so she made an effort to write down what wardrobes were being worn in which scenes to ensure the movie was consistent. Now, Forbes Riley was really, she was making sure their I's were dotted and T's was crossed. She went above and beyond. The Hallbrook Drive-In in Peekskill, New York was featured in the film. Splatter University later wound up being screened there before the theater was demolished. Forbes Riley also brought her own wardrobe for the film. So those are actually her clothes. The school scenes were shot at Mercy College in Dobbs Ferry, New York during spring break. Promotional material was released prior to a script even being written in order to attract investors. The photos feature a group of college girls, some of them in cheerleading uniforms, being attacked by a man in a graduation cap and gown wielding a butcher knife. The killer in the actual film never wears graduation garb. The only girl featured in these photos to actually appear in the film was Denise Texiera. The copyright at the end of the print originally stated copyright. I've forgotten all of my Roman numerals, MCMLXXXIII. However, an extra handwritten I was added to read for not. So it was like the original copyright was 1983. Then they added an extra I to make it 1984. Even though 1984 in Roman numerals will be the IV. I do remember that. The original title for this film was Thou Shall Not Kill, which is similar to the movie I'm going to cover next Wednesday. This movie was shot in 1981 with some scenes in 1982. It was released 2 years later in 1984. So that's a little bit of trivia to pad this out about Splatter University. Now, Darren might be interested in this if he doesn't already know. As far as alternate versions, for the UK version submitted to the BBFC in 1986 as Campus Killings, the film had been cut by 1 second. So yeah. Um, and this actually got a IMDb rating of 4 out of 10. So not real high ratings. Um, Darren, you say 88 Films version is pretty good and reasonably cheap. Region B though. Yeah, I don't think this is one movie I don't have the 88 Films version. Texas said, luckily I have a non-region Blu-ray player. So, anyway, that's Splatter University. If you don't own it, want to watch for a free version, check it out on YouTube. Okay, so the second film we're going to cover tonight is Student Bodies, the world's first comedy horror movie. It says before there was Scream, there was Student Bodies. And let's talk about Student Bodies actually. So I'm going to bring this up real quick on IMDb. This came out in 1981. And going to give you a little bit of a plot synopsis about Student Bodies. So the other movie on here is Jekyll and Hyde Together again, which I'm not going to talk about tonight, but does have Mark Blankfield on it and Bess Armstrong. But the laughs are as big as the terror in these two spoof comedy hits, Student Bodies and Jekyll and Hyde Together Again. Boasting as the original teen horror comedy, Student Bodies follows the crazed serial murderer, The Breather, as he picks off sex-starved students one by one with everything from paper clips to a chalkboard eraser to a horse head bookend. Yes, you heard me, horse head bookend and paper clips. And I remember that Texas said that he knows the girl that got paperclipped to death in Student Bodies. And that's correct, right, Texas? You'll never look at horror movies the same again once you take in the original spoof hit that can easily be seen as an inspiration for all of today's scary movies. So, yeah, this one is wild, off the wall, crazy, and will keep you laughing all the way through the movie. If you're scared of this movie, I would say not that there's something wrong with you, but maybe somebody didn't do something right making this movie, because I don't find anything to be scared of in this movie personally. Everything from the killer on down to the ways people were killed in the movie, all the characters in here is a complete spoof. A complete spoof. And not only are people killed with chalkboard erasers and paper clips and horsehead bookends, one girl is killed by being beat to death with an eggplant. Yes, an eggplant. Inside a parade float. Yeah. And if you don't think that somebody can be paperclipped to death, watch this film. Hey, Blissful. Darren, you said, I think Student Bodies was a flop when it was released. I believe it was too, Darren. I guess people weren't quite ready for that at that point and maybe didn't know what to make of it. You say, I think people were expecting a straight out slasher with it being made in 1981. I've always loved it. Yeah, I think the first time that I saw Student Bodies, I thought it was going to be your typical slasher film because I don't think I'd ever seen a film like this, but I wasn't upset over it or disappointed. Like once I got into it and realized what they were trying to do with it, I was like, "Oh, this is neat." And keep in mind, again, this was years and years and years before Scream. And I liked what they did with it. Texas, you say, yes, Dana, I went to high school with her. Darren, do you have, or Darren, Texas, do you have any like stories about her? I mean, was she a, a prankster or anything like that? Or was she, was she a snob or, um, and I do apologize if I'm asking something that you've already said at one time or another, um, but I just wanted to know if you had kind of any insight into her. Was she a real bitch and you didn't really get a chance to know her? Or, yes, class reunion. I've seen that. I used to have an old VHS copy of that. Waco, I think I've seen, but it's been a long while. But yeah, you're right. They followed in the same vein as well. Texas, you say, I think it's one of the better horror comedies. Darren, you say Pandemonium was another. Alfred Soul from Mouse Sweet Alice directed it, or checking out. I think that is one I have not seen. I do need to check that out. Who knows? Steve may have it on the hard drive somewhere, or he may be able to obtain it, or I might be able to find it for free somewhere. But again, once I figured out what they were trying to do with this movie and that it was not going to be a straight ahead slasher. And you pretty much figure that out pretty quickly in this movie. It makes no bones about it. Um, and the laughs do not stop, or at least they didn't stop for me in this movie. I mean, the girl that Texas went to school with, that gets paperclipped to death, she plays a babysitter. Uh, who, wants to eat all the food in the people's refrigerator that she's taking care of their kids. Um, and there's like when the couple comes back, the woman keeps screaming about stuff. And you keep expecting her to scream when they find dead bodies, to find the body of the babysitter, find the body of her boyfriend, and on and on and on. But she doesn't. She screams because there's a chicken leg from like KFC or something, maybe, on the floor. And like, she goes, ah, she ate the chicken, and her husband's like, he's one of these meek little mousy types. And he's like, oh, sorry, dear. And he takes a rubber band and puts the piece of the chicken back on the drumstick and puts it back in the refrigerator. Then when they get upstairs and see the dead body, the wife is not screaming over the dead body, but the husband just goes, ah, like this over the dead body. And every time we see a dead body, you hear an audio going ding, 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 and it shows you a kill count. So, and the killer also puts the dead bodies in trash bags as well. So every time he kills somebody or they kill somebody, I'm not going to tell you if it's a he or a she. Um, every time they put some or kill somebody, they put the body in trash bags, and usually their head or something will be sticking out. Um, and when the shop teacher who's showing the students how to make horsehead bookends, he's really serious about horsehead bookends, by the way. When the killer like has blood all over one of these horsehead bookends where they beat somebody to death with it, um, the shop teacher or the wood shop teacher, whatever you want to call him, industrial arts teacher, whatever. When he sees this, he thinks that it's been stained. He's like, "Oh, you stained it," and we're like, "No, that's blood. They've just killed somebody." Um, there's a janitor who obviously has something wrong with him, because his name is Malvert, and he kind of talks about himself in the no, he doesn't kind of. He does talk about himself in the third person. Um, for instance, he goes around, sometimes Malvert P. Red. This comes into play at the prom or some kind of school dance where there's red punch. And they say something like, I didn't know that anybody made punch. And Malvert says, sometimes Malvert P. Red. And everybody starts spitting out the punch because they think that Malvert has peed in the punch bowl, pretty much. You know, you've heard of a turd in the punch bowl. Well, he took a pee in the punch bowl, evidently, or that's what people think. There's also a scene where tall, lanky Malvert puts his hand down his pants, and everybody's just like, oh, like he's going to pull his dick out or something. And he pulls cheese out of his pants, and he has this big thing of cheese. Um, the breather, the killer in this. There's a scene in the locker room where he's watching the girls undress or get dressed, and some of them are naked, and he does this overblown thing of oh, and he says, I'm taking it out of my pants. I'm doing what my mommy told me not to do. And then he says, oh, 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 where I guess obviously he's supposed to be masturbating to these naked girls. And then he just goes, oh, and falls over. And if that isn't enough, you've just got more and more stuff. You've got when the breather is going to kill the babysitter and her boyfriend, he's going to go upstairs to kill them, and he's going up the steps, and he's and he puts his hand in gum and all this stuff, and he says, I'd like to kill the kid with the gum. And just every spoofy thing that you could put into a movie is in this movie. Again, I know I keep bringing this up, and you're probably going to say, well, damn, Dana, Scream was a lot better made movie. Yes, I agree. But this movie and other similar movies did it first. Okay. We cannot pretend like Scream was the first movie to do this, to make fun of the horror genre, to put all of those tropes and kind of turn them on their ear, so to speak, uh, from horror films. There were films that actually did this before Scream. Yes, chicken. It's broken. Yeah, exactly. I'd forgotten about that line, but yes. Um, so Texas, you say she was a bitch. She thought she was going to be a huge star. She was a couple of grades ahead of me. All she did was student bodies in the short. Well, that's what you get, right? And Texas, you say Pandemonium was great too, and Clash Reunion is pretty funny. Yeah, I do remember Clash Reunion, but I do need to watch Pandemonium. I said keys, not cheese. Blissful, you say literally almost all my teachers in high school. Um, Darren, you say I remember the trailer to Student Bodies. It was on previews for a lot of VHS back in the day. It was all a dream. That's right, TJ. But I'm not going to fully explain that in case there's people in here, people that watch later that have not seen it. But hey, TJ. Um, so, I don't want to give away all the goodies in this film, all the funny moments in this film. Um, but, I think you've got the gist of these different things that are in the movie. Um, Now, this, of course, no doubt was put out by Paramount. And really, there were no special features to speak of, and none that I can really recall. Um, and I'm not sure how much this is. I can probably see if maybe Amazon still has this. Amazon was probably where I originally bought this. I'm just going to check for those of you that might at some point be interested in buying it. Now, there is a single Blu-ray that just has student bodies on it, but they want $29.95 for this sucker. I'm trying to see who specifically put this out. Oh, this was Olive. Olive put this out. Well, that kind of explains why it's so expensive. So I definitely, if you've never seen it before, I definitely would not go out and buy this Blu-ray for almost $30. Well, you might as well say it's $30. Um, but you can get it on DVD for like 13 something, and then there's another Blu-ray for 18 something. But I'm not actually seeing the one that I have that has both movies on it. Yeah. So yeah, definitely um don't buy that Blu-ray without, determining if you really are going to watch this more often. Texas said one of the best scenes is the bit at the rating. Oh yes. Um and I will bring this up because this is not really giving anything away. But what Texas is talking about, for any of you that have not seen the movie, is the movie just like this guy in a suit and tie breaks into in the middle of the movie, and he explains about how movies get an R rating. And then he lists a bunch of things, and he says, since this movie has none of these, and since rated R movies seem to be popular with movie going audiences at this point in time, or something like that, he said, I just want to say, fuck you. And that evident, I think they even show the rated R after he says that. And that, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Texas, because that is a really funny moment. Darren says this also has an 88 films release. Do you know the cost for the 88 films version, Darren? TJ, you say I got it on VHS. I recorded it off TV. LOL. Well, the first time I watched it, I think it was on cable or satellite. Blissful, you say, I just found my VHS player. I was in the attic today. Yeah, these are just balloons. Squeak, squeak. Texas say Olive sucks. MVD is putting out Last American Virgin in January. Man, if I get that new job, then even though Last American Virgin bums me out, it's still a very well made movie, I think. And I would like to watch it again. Yes, Darren, you say Tex, I love the Last American Virgin classic. Yeah, actually, that is the correct wording of it. The producer of this film have asked me to say "fuck you." And see, StreamYard didn't even block that fuck out there. So, um, yeah. So that's about all I have to say. I can see if there's maybe a little bit of Angela Bressler. That was Julie, the girl that got paperclipped to death. Texas, is that her real name? I'm just wondering if she used a pseudonym or something. And they don't even show the short film on here. They just show Student Bodies where she played Julie. So Here's a little trivia for you for student bodies. The segment in the middle of the movie where the announcer, who is stay as being an executive producer, addresses the audience and says an expletive, fuck you, so the film could get an R rating, was just added so the production could guarantee student bodies an R rating from the MPAA. The Motion Picture Association of America, the dialogue here mentions how R rated films at the box office gross more money. During the breather's phone call to the babysitter in the beginning of the film, the phone number plate is clearly visible. Instead of the standard fake movie 555 area code, we can see 713-270-5544. This is the current actual phone number for the Athletic Sports Bar in Houston, Texas. I wonder how many people called that. Though the film was a failure upon release in theaters, its subsequent airings on television helped it to gain a cult following. It was frequently shown on television due to the fact that the film featured little profanity or violence. The film was funded by Paramount because of the writer's strike that was going on in 1981. The studio wanted to put out as many non-union films as possible during the strike. Producer and director Michael Ritchie had his name removed from the film credits so as not to run into trouble from the striking Writers Guild. Instead, screenwriter Mickey Rose was given on-screen director's credit. The marching band featured in the movie is the Pearland High School Marching Band from Pearland, Texas. The band also goes by the name The Pride of Pearland. Sarah Eckhard plays Patty the Prom Queen. She is no longer an actress, she's a judge. The name of the educational institution was the Lamab High School, but it had originally been Lamar High School. During the shooting of the prom, it was decided to quickly change the name because of the real Lamar High School in Houston, in Texas. All posters at the prom were quickly changed from Lamar to Lamab. Previous scenes filmed using the word Lamar were dubbed over to the corrected Lamab. During the final chase dream, as Toby is running up the stairs, you can hear Godzilla's roar at least twice, mixed in with all the other sounds and music. The Alan Smithy producer credit was, in fact, a pseudonym for Michael Ritchie. This was revealed in a review of the film published in the Los Angeles Times on August 12, 1981. Alan Smithy is a commonly used name for screen credits, usually for a director where a person does not wish to use their name or believe that the picture is a bad movie and do not wish to be associated with it. The Stick, who played Malbert the janitor, received an introducing credit in the closing credits. These end credits states, in introducing as Malbert the janitor, the Stick, Patrick Boone Varnell is the real person uh, behind the name The Stick. According to the American Film Institute's AFI catalog, producer-director Michael Ritchie was actively involved during principal photography, laying Paramount Pictures to acquire student bodies for $1.5 million before filming was completed. First spoof slasher movie of the late 1970s, 1980s cycle of slasher movies. The parody would be followed by others, including April Fool's Day and National Lampoon's Class Reunion, Saturday the 14th. Had a title that spoofed and parodied the title of Friday the 13th, but itself was not a slasher spoof and parody, but was a comedy in an old dark house setting with monsters and traditional horror characters. The visiting football team actually came from Port Arthur, Texas, the 1980 Thomas Jefferson Yellow Jackets, sporting their colors of maroon and gold. They played in the 5A state championship game against the Odessa Permian Panthers of Friday Night Lights fame. The nicknames of the serial killer were Breather or The Breather. The movie was announced in the November 17, 1980 issue of Show Business trade paper, The Hollywood Reporter, as having the following key creatives. Jeff Lieberman was both writer and director, and the producers were Joseph Baru and Edgar Lansbury. However, none of these names appear in the credits for the finished film. The movie's opening prologue, which is funny too. This motion picture is based on an actual incident. Last year, 26 horror films were released. None of them lost money. Student Bodies was the first film to satirize the thriving slasher film genre, according to a Wikipedia website. Actor Richard Brando received an introducing credit as his role as the Breather, aka the Breather. Um, the film's closing credits state promotional consideration or assistance given by Windsurfing International and Kawasaki Motors Corporation. There's Kentucky Fried Chicken, Dunkin' Donuts. There's a whole bunch there that I'm not going to keep reading. The movie became famous and popular on American late night cable television screenings on such programs as Saturday Nightmares and Up All Night, the latter hosted by Rhonda Shear. The slasher movie parody was notable for a body count number that flashed on the screen each time a character was disposed of. The motion picture's closing credits give special thanks to Sue Hessel. The film's joke opening title cards, which reflect events that occurred prior to the picture, read Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Jamie Lee Curtis's birthday. So that's just a few things I wanted to bring up as far as trivia. Um, Darren, you said 88 Films Blu-ray is $9.99 on Amazon. That's not bad. That's her. Yes, it is. Blissful, you say, Darren, I agree. It was a great movie. Texas, you say it's one of my favorites, sans the ending. Hey, Red, you say, Dane, you said, is there any reason why you don't show the TV screen when you're streaming a movie? So you're asking me, is there any reason why I don't show the TV screen when I'm streaming a movie? Is that what you're asking? Um, yes, there's a very valid reason for me, as a reason why I don't show the TV screen when I'm streaming a movie and why I let people stream it on their own. And that is so I don't get kicked off of YouTube. So I don't get any black marks on YouTube, because it doesn't matter what you show. If there's some kind of algorithm that gets picked up, you could get a copyright strike. You get enough copyright strikes and they'll kick your ass off of YouTube. And so I don't want that to happen. So Red, that is the number one, pretty much the only reason why I do not show the TV screen when I'm streaming a movie. And I mean, I mute the audio because generally these movies that I do watch alongs for, I have seen bunches and bunches and bunches of times and I know the dialogue. You can also put up subtitles usually if you're streaming it on your own or you're watching your own personal copy, you can have subtitles on. Steve and I used to do that generally when we would do commentaries. And the other reason, other than I think when I have audio from a movie playing in the background, other than it, number one, being distracting to anybody else that might be in the stream or people that might be in the chat or whatever, to hear that feedback all the time, is that sometimes YouTube will pick up on the algorithms of audio, even, or soundtracks, music, whatever. That can also get you copyright strikes or blacklisted off of YouTube if you do it enough. So, yes, that is the big reason why I don't show the TV screen when I'm streaming a movie. So when you say, yeah, I hate YouTube at times. Keep saying you're offline. Yeah, well, a weird thing, all the time I've been using StreamYard to do these streams, it had never kicked me off. And the other night when Texas was on here with me, he was telling a great story that I wanted to hear the end of, and it just kicked me right out. And I had to struggle to get back in. Well, not really struggle, but it took me a little bit to get back in. And then I was like, I'm so sorry, Texas. I said, could you repeat part of what? Here's the last thing I heard, because it kicked me out. TJ, you say, I think it should have been held back. The slasher boom in full swing by 1982, I think, would have been better. Or as the boom was winding down, people, I think, would have gotten the joke better. Yeah, I could see that, TJ. Till 71, you say you didn't see either one of these, so you've not seen Splatter University or student bodies. Let me actually see here if you can watch student bodies on YouTube. Now, I see where you can, they want you to buy it or rent it. And they actually have that student body's best scene ever where he says, fuck you. Um, I mean, it might be possible that you could watch it on Tubi or something. Somebody's put together all the Malvert clips. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, you can get in trouble doing that. Yeah, definitely 71. I mean, I realize that some people are probably like, well, who cares? I'm not saying Red is saying that, but some people probably say, who cares if you get copyright strikes? Well, I enjoy doing these live streams and being able to do, have them broadcast on YouTube. And, I would hate for that to be taken away from me just because I showed some movie on the screen. That's why I always try my best to come up with a link that everybody can use and everybody can watch it on their own. But as is the case with cruising, I have not yet been able to find a link and nobody has sent me one. So nobody else must have not been able to find one either. So, that's pretty much going to be us watching our own copies of that. Hey, old curly jaws, you say, hey, yo. Yeah, I thought it was something like 3 strikes and you're out type of thing. Yeah, click. Silent. It's like, did you hang up? No, I just said click. But anyway, I can stay on here for a little bit longer. But I did want to make sure that I was done quite a bit before 10 so that if people want to go over to what they're doing over at Dead Pit, that you don't have to feel like that you got to stay in mine or that it's going to hurt my feelings or anything like that. And I'm guessing that them doing this on Wednesday, of the worst horror movie moments or whatever, means that Garrett and Uncle Bill have finished their 101 scariest movie moments. I knew they were getting close to the end of that. But is there anything anybody wants to bring up or to ask me, or things that they want to suggest for any streams or any movies they want to suggest for watch alongs? I know, O'Curly Jaws has recommended both Bloody Bloody Bible Camp and also, I believe, Rob Zombie's Halloween, right? O'Curly Jaws, if you're still in here. Um, I am going to step away real quick and get me something else to drink. I will be right back. So nobody put anything in the chat while I was gone. But again, um, kind of the floor is open for you guys. If there is there anybody that knows for sure that they want to be on either of the watch-alongs for Saturday or Sunday? Saturday we're doing prom night. Sunday we're doing cruising. You can be on one or the other or both. I am open to whatever everybody wants to do. And Louise, my figures, I tell you, I wish that I hadn't had to take my Halloween 2 figures of Dr. Loomis and Laurie out of the box. I wish I had room to put them in the box on my shelf, and unfortunately I didn't. So TJ, you said, by the way, Rift Tracks just released Hack-A-Lantern. Hey, but TJ, is that something that you would recommend I do a watch along for? Because I could definitely put that one down. Because I'm going to write down Bloody Bloody Bible Camp. And I think I also have a list in my notebook of some things that people had suggested. I can't talk. Yeah, by the way, old Curly Jaws, I saw your video. You sent me the link to. That place is cool. Like, how far away is Clarksville from New Albany? Do you know? Because I was, considering maybe if I get this job that maybe I could wait a little bit and then maybe Steve would take me over there if it wasn't too far. I like pretty much all the riff tracks too, TJ. You say recommend it in any capacity. Oh, like only 5 minutes? Oh, I think I could probably get him to do that. Darren, you say do My Bloody Valentine in February? That sounds perfect to me. I'll write that one down. Yeah, I would love to do that. Me and Steve actually did a commentary for My Bloody Valentine. You can hear me laughing like a loon because Steve kept, he's trying to talk like TJ in the movie, and he was like, rail cars all the time because they were talking about these rail cars in the mines. And the way Steve kept saying it was just hilarious. I didn't think it was so hilarious when TJ said it, but when Steve kept trying to sound, I guess, trying to sound Canadian or something, rail cars. I don't know why. I don't think I was drinking that night either, but it was just insanely hilarious to me. TJ, you say pay unless you can find it online somewhere, like Steve does. Shh, don't tell anybody. Rift Tracks does put a lot of their stuff on YouTube, though. Yeah. Oh, did they really? Oh, Curly Jaws, they had some old Fangoria magazines there. Do you know what the pricing was on them? Did it vary or? I would love to get my hands on some old Fangoria magazines. And Gores on them if I could. I know you are. That's why you're so entertaining, TJ, on the streams. That's why I love to have you on there. All you guys are entertaining. You're a lot more entertaining than I am. Texas tells great stories, and he's entertaining. TJ's entertaining. Oh, Curly Jaws is entertaining. John's entertaining. I mean, just like everybody so far that I've had on these streams has been very entertaining. CK's been entertaining. I even You guys know how many times I've told Uncle Bill he could be on here and he still hasn't taken me up on it. Like 20. Well, I mean, it's like I couldn't buy a whole ton of them, but um I maybe could, pick and choose and see if there were some that I really, really wanted. Um, but I think what I'm going to do is stay on here till a quarter till. And it's 9:38 now. I'll stay on here till 9:45. So if anybody has um, any other, things that they want to suggest for watch alongs or anything like that, um, like I said, I know my hair is just, I don't know what in the world's going on with it. I straightened it today, but it's like I don't have any hairspray, or I'm out of hairspray right now, and I just cannot get this stuff to lay down. Um, Steve will be saying I have witch hair again. Um, so there's some sign stuff there too. Awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely um I definitely want to go there after oh, Curly Jaws, I don't think you were in here when I was talking about, but I'm getting really ever closer to possibly getting this job for the help desk for the Smile Doctors. I've got another interview where I'm going to meet the IT managers or get introduced to the IT manager's boss. So that sounds positive. So I'll keep y'all posted. But if I do get that job, and I make a few paychecks, then I might ask Steve if we can go over there because I'd really like to check that place out. Um, TJ, you said, by the way, I should have my boogie shoes on and can be on the stream for prom night. Awesome, TJ. Um, I will be sure to send you the link. If anybody else wants to tell me now that they want to be on one or the other, um, just let me know because I'm making a list. I'm not checking it twice. Well, maybe. Um, but TJ wants to be on. There went my Laurie figure again. Y'all probably saw it that time or heard it. Damn. Okay. Maybe it'll stay up there. So TJ, are you interested in being on for cruising, or do you just want to keep it at prom night? Yes, Darren. I'm gonna New York City slashers. Yes, I would still like to do that. So I'm putting asterisks beside it. This is why I like to ask again because even though if I've written something down and it's in another notebook or something, I may have forgotten. No, Texas, I have not yet found a link for cruising. And I want everybody to be able to watch along with me, but which is why I always try to find a link that everybody can use. I do apologize that I'm just not having any luck this time with that. Are you talking about prom night or cruising, TJ? You said love the movie but had my complaints, but where? No problem. I don't mind. Oh, okay. Evil Bong, that was one that you yeah, we're writing that down. Evil Bong. TJ, you say, don't think I can do cruising, unfortunately. No, that's cool. That's cool. Can't expect everybody to do them all. So, we're definitely going to do My Bloody Valentine at some point in February. It would be cool if Valentine's Day was on a Saturday or Sunday. Then maybe I could do it on one of those days, but never fear. Um, we'll do it one Saturday probably that month. And so I'm going to be on here for a couple more minutes. So if there's anybody that wants me to, put them down for a link, I think, let's see. Texas, I'm going to put you down tentatively for a link for cruising. Curly Jaws, honey, it'll be the original. I know you thought the remake was amazing, but this will be the original, 1981. In my opinion, don't throw spit wads at me. Classic. Um, but you can still be on, even if you want to complain about it. You can still be on. I don't mind. Because, like TJ said, he'll have his complaints about prom night, and I don't care. Okay, Darren, you say put me as a possible for cruising, all being well. Okay. And if you guys can't for whatever reason, that is cool. It's not like you guys are getting paid for this or anything. Curly Jaws, you say, I didn't hate the original. I felt like it could have been a franchise. Gotcha. Yeah. I think I remember you saying that actually. Curly Jaws. Hey, by the way, Curly Jaws, are you interested in being on either one or both of the watch alongs this weekend? Prom night and cruising. Prom night will be Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Cruising will be Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So if you don't know now, you could let me know at any point in time. 71, you said the original is the best. But I'm going to give y'all a few more seconds to answer anything that I may have asked anybody. And then I am going to get off of here for the night. And Curly Jaws, you say, I don't know if I could sit through prom night again. That was awful. LO Remake 2008 was better. Well, if you change your mind, Curly Jaws, you just let me know, okay? And you've never seen cruising? I see. Okay. That could be interesting to have you on there if you could get a copy of it to watch. DJ, you say double F that remake, LOL. Yes, Darren, that's great. Yes, I'm going to put the Fun House down for a for a commentary eventually. 71, you've never seen cruising. Boy, I hope, that we either one come up with a link that I can put out there for everybody, or that everybody can acquire a copy somewhere to watch. Because I didn't realize there were this many people that had not seen cruising. And that cruising is just an experience. It really is. It's a great, as Darren and I were talking about, it's a great freaking film. So Jason X, Curly Jaws. Okay, I'm going to put Jason X down. Okay. So we got a few here. And Darren, you say everybody needs to see cruising at least once. I think so too, Darren. But guys, it's been fun. I had another great night. We've had about around 10 people almost at all times for this. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and joining me for the 18th week of Cheese Extreme Wednesday. I want to remind everybody again that we're doing next Wednesday. I'm going to be doing the stuff. and thou shalt not kill except. 71, you say you love Al Pacino. I do too. If you're serious about that, old curly jaws, I would do it. You said Patrick Swayze ghost commentary, laughing my ass off. I mean, seriously, if you're serious about that, let me know. Yeah, I'm serious, and we could certainly, I could make that a reality for you. Which one looks good? 71. You say, hey, that one looks good. But again, I want to thank everybody for coming out and hanging out with me for almost 2 hours. It's been fun. I look forward to these every week. And once I get through my Blu-rays, hopefully maybe I can get my lazy ass back to the DVD room and pull out some that I only have on DVD but don't have on Blu-ray. Rob Zombie Halloween 2. The second one I held up, Thou Shalt Not Kill Except. Yeah, this is a fun one. This one is actually directed by Josh Becker, one of Sam Raimi's friends. Sam Raimi is actually in this, as is Ted Raimi. So good night, TJ. I'm going to put Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 because that'll be my first watch if we do that one. Wow. So anyway, you say it was fun as usual. So it is now 9:50, and so good night, old curly jaws. Good night, 71. Good night, everybody. And with that, this girl's gonna skedaddle on out of here for the night, and I will see everyone on the flip side. Y'all have a good night now.